kind of resonates with me is that there's people, 5 miles down the road from this, right? They're still laying in bed that are Nerium brand partners, right? But here's the cool thing. Since you made the sacrifice to be here today, which is not really a sacrifice, you guys are going to get some amazing information today. And I don't want to go into, a lot of you in here know my story, but what I do want to do is tell you how I know Sarah Nilsen, one-star national marketing director from Seattle. We were actually in another company together, and I want to give you guys this story, okay? So when I first started with that company, probably about 6 weeks into it, Sarah gave me a phone call and asked me if I'd be on one of her training calls. And I was like, what do you want me to say? So that was really my first meeting with her, and I was really nervous, but she is an awesome person. So she did these amazing training calls in our other company, and so I really got to know her through those calls, and was finally introduced to her at a meeting, and then we went on like 4 fabulous trips together and stayed at her house and all that kind of fun stuff. But when I was first learning the business, okay, when I was first learning direct sales and how to prospect people, how to approach people, how to close a sale and all that kind of stuff, I would honestly pretend, this is no word of lie, and some of you have actually heard this on a training call with me, that I would pretend I had a little Sarah right here. And everything that went through my mind was, what would Sarah say? What would Sarah say? I need to know, what would Sarah say? Because Laurie was still learning. But it was always, what would Sarah say? So I encourage you guys today, get that paper, get that pen out, and start writing down stuff Sarah says. Because it is really going to be helpful. So I'm excited. Get up here. Get started. We are not going to waste our time.
Oh, man. There she is. Let's see. Did we have this problem last time where every time we turned around you couldn't hear me? Should I use that?
No, you're good.
Yeah. As long as I talk like this. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for coming. It's so nice outside, and it's Saturday, so I'm not going to take for granted that you're here, and I'm going to try to keep my stories down and get the information out so that we're not here at 5 o'clock. No, we won't be here. Really quickly, how many of you guys I haven't met before, haven't heard my story? Anybody? Oh, okay. All right, well then, the rest of you guys, you know when to laugh. See? Okay. Really quickly, my name's Sarah Nilsen, as Laurie mentioned, and I have actually been in direct sales for about 13 years. I was with another company out of Seattle for about 10 years. I did really well in that company and became a believer. Before that, I was sort of a real job snob. You might be one, or maybe you know someone. It just kind of feels like direct sales is for people who can't get a real job. And after I had my second child and I was going back to work, it's sort of cliche to even say it, but I was like, man, I need to figure out something else to do. And my sister-in-law had recently joined the industry. And I think that part of my problem was that I didn't know anybody that was successful in direct marketing. But I knew a lot of people who weren't. A lot of people had a garage full of inventory, or every time you saw them, they were selling something different, right? And like, great, here she comes, what's she trying to sell me now? And I didn't want to be that girl. And but through some circumstances, I decided to give it a go. I was really excited I did, built a career there. And then one day, it was actually July 19th, 3 years ago, the company sent us all an email that they were gone. And I was making 6 figures at the time. I had an office, I had a little company car, I had a couple of assistants. I thought I was high on the hog, and I was for a minute, and then all of a sudden on July 20th, not so much. I had no customers, no team, no product, no income, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. I knew I didn't want to go to a corporate job and have to sit in traffic and put on pantyhose again, because that just wasn't my deal. So I figured the best thing to do would be stay in direct marketing and find another company. So did some research, looked through a lot of companies, found one out of California, similar product, similar comp plan, and decided, hey, this is where I'm going to go. I had the opportunity to go down there and meet the CEO, and you guys know from last night, I might as well just call her Lindsay Lohan. She is a train wreck. Train wreck. But I figured, okay, if the product's good and she lives in California, I don't have to deal with her very much. I can just do my job and kind of stay out of her hair and I'll be fine. So I stayed at that company for 18 months, and between downsizing from my first the loss of my first job and kind of ramping up with my new company, I got to this place where I was comfortable. So I wasn't dreaming about anything. I wasn't, saving for my condo in Maui or anything like that. But I also wasn't on the top ramen diet, right? I was just kind of here. And some of you might be here, like thinking, okay, things are going okay, but I'm not really inspired to do much more. And my friend Dana, has Dana been out here? Yeah. Okay, my friend Dana approached me about Nerium. And I remember her calling me, oh, Sarah, you gotta check this out. It's the best thing ever. Oh my God. And I was like, yeah, no. And what I was saying no to was starting over. I had just got back to comfort level, and I didn't want to go back to zero again. I had no desire in rebuilding a team and going back to nothing. And so she did what any of you would do, and she kept tripping on me. Of course, at the time, I called it bothering me. I didn't realize there was a method to her madness. And she sent me a bottle, I never tried it. She sent me a magazine, I didn't read it. She sent me a couple of videos, I never opened them. I didn't know that she knew I didn't open them. But that didn't matter because I wasn't accepting her phone calls anyway, so I was like, and then she had Rick Frisk calling me, and I, got to the point where I was making his call, and this went on for a couple of months. So if you're thinking that, if you're working with someone right now that you really think could be good at this, or that you really think needs this, don't give up. Because if she would have given up on me, I wouldn't be here. So I'm really grateful to her now, even though at the time it was annoying. And then one day, I accidentally called her back, and have you guys ever done that? Where you're going through your iPhone and you're looking for, you accidentally call the wrong person? I was trying to call my hair salon, it's a 425 area code, and I saw 425 on my missed calls, and anyway, I called her, I thought it was the salon, and she answered the phone, hey Sarah, and I had that moment where I was like, uh-oh. Now she thinks I want to talk to her. So I played it off, of course, I was like, hey girl, sorry it took me so long to get back to you. 3 months. I really appreciate all the time you're putting into trying to get me to look at this. I'm sure it's a great product. I'm really happy that you're doing well, but it's just not for me. And she pretty much broke it down for me at that point and said, listen, Sarah, you can say no, but as your friend, I can't have you say no until you know what you're saying no to. And I really know you, and I know that if you took a look at this, you love what you heard, and you would change a lot of lives. So can you just forget the whole Jeff Olson thing, forget the meeting, forget the magazine, just meet me for coffee, just 20 minutes, I'll come to you. And she lived about an hour and a half away from me. So I was like, okay, well, if you're going to come all the way over here and get me a coffee, then sure. And so I made the appointment with her for 3 weeks later because I was so busy. And I actually almost canceled that day too. And I went to meet for coffee, and there was her and Anna Woodward and Rick Frisk. They all sort of tag teamed me, and the meeting went really well. 20 minutes turned into an hour, turned into an hour and a half, and by the time I left there, I got it. I knew what I was going to do. I was going to go home and quit my job because I had to. Now, I don't recommend everybody do that. I was selling another skincare company, so it was a conflict of interest. Quit my job, went back to zero, which is exactly where I didn't want to be. I actually also moved out of my house that week. My husband and I had some problems when I moved out of my house. And I put myself in a situation where I had to make money. Like I had no income. I shelled out $1,000 that I didn't have for a kit. I was now having to support 2 households. And 8 days later was the bash. And Dana's like, well, you have to go to the bash. Like in Anaheim. Are any of you guys in Anaheim? Okay, yeah, so I had to go to bash. And I was like, shoot, now I got airfare and I got, So I put myself in a situation where I had to make money. And I gave myself 90 days to replace my income. That was my goal. So what I did was I called my friends that I thought would understand the business. I got them on the calls with Anna. I was bottles out, bottles out. I was calling my upline for bottles. I was Facebook all day long. Do you want to try it? Do you want to try it? To the post office 2 or 3 times a day. I was like 5 hours a day in my computer exposing as many people as I could to Nerium for the first month or 2 of my business. I was lucky enough to earn my iPad, the Lexus, the bonus, the trip, and all that, and I actually tripled my income by the 4th month. So it worked out really well. Woo-hoo. Yeah. But like I say, when I tell my story, I think the best part of that for me is that it isn't because I did anything great or special. It's not because I knew the right people. I didn't take people from my other business with me. I don't have any great sales skills. It's because I follow the system. The same system that you guys will follow. The same system that everybody will follow that comes on board with us later. This isn't rocket science, right? It works if you work it. And I mean, that's about as simple as it gets. And I think that's why Nerium attracts people who don't have a lot of time, who don't have sales experience, who have another job, don't know anything about skincare, they could just plug into these 8 points that we're going to talk about and be successful. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take, whatever your goal is to get the car, to start qualifying, to hit your bonuses. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I do know this, that if you stick with it, it will be impossible for you not to hit your goals. And there's not a lot of opportunities out there that can say that with conviction. So I encourage you today, as we're listening to all this, you're going to get a lot of information. Some of it will be a repeat, some of it might be new to you. But as you're going through this, all I really want you to remember is that as long as you engage consistently in this system, there is no way to lose. So I want you to dream big about it. I want you to think long term about it. I want you to not think about where you're at today, not think about your sister just told you no. Don't think about the fact that your 3 friends that you thought for sure were going to join this business with you have told you no. Or that one person that joined, that knows everybody in Kansas is going to totally change your life, has gone MIA after she got her kit. Oh, it happens here too? Yeah. Yeah. Don't think about that. Think about that you are the only factor in your success. Your success is not on anyone else's shoulders. It's you. You're the only variable here. And that's a pretty cool place to be, because you're in 100% control of where you go with this. No luck needed, no skill needed, just a desire. We can give you all the tools to do everything else in this business. The only thing that we can't give you is a desire to do it, right? And so hopefully that's why you're here, because you could be laying in the sun or going to a game or something like that. So let's see. All right, so let's first start with the culture. I think that the culture of what Nerium does is unique in the industry. And it starts from the top down. It's not just, window dressing, it's not just a fancy brochure, but it really is, what the heart of Nerium is. And we have a couple of different things, our pillars. First of all, it was built on the word real. If you're going to build a company on the word real, you've got to be able to back that up, right? That's pretty aggressive. Real people, real results, real opportunity. Now, if you can't build a culture around that if it isn't so, you have to make sure that you're living it, that everything you do, that all the decisions you make at the corporate level, that everything you do involving your brand partners reflects that, and that's what Nerium has. Our core values, they're in your success planner, and incidentally, if you're new or this is your first regional, you can kind of follow along with some of this in your success planner. And if you're missing anything, pretty much everything I'm going to say is in your success planner as well. And giving back. Giving back is huge. I talked about this a little bit last night, and I think we'll talk about it next in our why, but Nerium's attached to something so much bigger than getting rid of your wrinkles, isn't it? I mean, you Lemonade for Littles is a good example. The Big Brothers Big Sisters, the Success for Teens, all of the happiness movement, giving back to cancer research. Everything that Nerium embodies is built on this growing this global halo of all of the good that we're going to be able to do on this planet. And it's not just about your wrinkles, although for most of us in the beginning, let's be honest. But it has to be something bigger than that for you as you grow. And then also the creating the leveraged income. It's so interesting to me that when people don't get this. And usually, the way I usually say it is this: if you don't understand leveraged income, that's because someone is leveraging you. And it's pretty much one or the other, right, if you're working. And I think that if I'm working really hard for somebody, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of my life, and my life hasn't changed, and I'm not building my legacy for my family and my nest egg and doing the things I want to do, and the person that I'm working for is, I think that's a little backwards. I wasn't put on this planet to help other people's dreams come true at the sacrifice of mine, right? And then I get down to an opportunity like this, and I don't even have $500 for a kid. Like, that seems backwards to me. But also, there's lots of things we like to do besides work, right? There's hobbies we want to spend time with our family, we want to get off the treadmill. So if you only have so many hours in the day or so many hours in the week to devote to a business like this, then in corporate America, that's what you get paid for. You show up for 8 hours, you get paid for 8 hours. You don't show up, you don't get paid, right? In an opportunity like this, which is why it's so important that people understand this, is you're getting paid for the value that you bring to the marketplace. You're getting paid for who you are and how you show up, not your time. So, for example, you have 5 hours a week that you can invest into your business, 1 hour a day. And please know that's not 5 hours on Sunday. It's 1 hour a day. And it works differently if you're doing 1 hour a day, always having your head in the game, always making sure that you're touching your business every day. That's 5 hours that you could be getting paid for. Oh. All right. Wrong slide. So, what happens with this time money curve is at the beginning, you're putting in most of the time and only making 10% of the money. And some of you probably feel like that right now. You're like, man, I've been working my hearing business so hard. I'm contacting everybody. I'm doing everything. I'm doing my points, but the money's just not coming yet. It takes a little while for you to plant those seeds. Most farmers would say they don't go out and drop the seeds and then the next day come back and harvest. Right? You drop the seeds, you got to keep on watering, you got to keep on dripping on it, you got to keep visiting it, and then your harvest is going to come later. In our business, what you do today will show up in your paycheck 90 days from now. So keep that in mind. And as long as you keep your foot down and keep that momentum, then it's a snowball that keeps going and going. But if you're one of those that starts and stops, it's really hard to build that momentum. And then you always feel like you're creating something out of nothing. So my best advice is to make sure that you're consistent. And then you can see how the curve works. In the middle, there in year 3, you're about 50-50. And incidentally, that 10% of the money, 90% of the time, that doesn't mean you're not making great. Your 10% could be $300,000 a year. I don't know what your 10% is, but you're putting in much more time than you will be at the 5th year when you're putting in 10% of the time and making 90% of the money. The problem is, most people quit right between year 2 and year 3. They start doubting themselves. They start thinking, man, this really isn't working for me, or maybe I'm not good at this, or gosh, this whole Nerium thing, I must have got in too late, or now there's some coffee that you can lose weight. I'm going to go do that instead, or whatever. Hypothetically. So you want to stick with it. Give yourself the full 5 years. See what you can create. Remember, you're the only one in charge of that. This is a shot of a real person's first year, and I saw this when I went to the conference in Anaheim. And this is one of the reasons why I stuck out. So you can see that in July when this person started, it wasn't really 2014, anyway. Their residual check, their monthly check, we're not talking about any of the weekly stuff, but their monthly check was $222. And then a year later, their monthly check was $10,000, right? So I saw this and I was like, okay, I can do that. My first monthly check, I came on board, I was all strong, I was super excited. We did like $20-something thousand or whatever's team. I think I was executive director, and then, thought, okay, I'm a rock star. And my check, I was thinking somehow I calculated it was going to be like $2,500, and it was like $216. So I called Anna Woodward, and I was like, this is zero, babe, something's up with my check here. And she laughed, like you guys, and she goes, oh my gosh, that's so funny. When I got my first check, I did the same thing. Like, I called Mark Smith, and I was like, hey, I don't know how this happens. We did all this, you did like $40,000. How come my check is so low? Like, there's a problem. And then he started laughing, and he said, oh my gosh, when I had my first check, I called Jeff Olson, and I was like, dude, I've got bills. And his first check was $750. And remember, he had just left a 7-figure income to join Nerium. And he thought, he was going to do really well, and he gets his month-end check at $750. Well, a year later, it's $1 million, so I guess it all worked out. But so anyway, my point is, if you're thinking, man, I just don't see the money coming in, look at this curve. Look how quickly it grows, and what drives this is your weekly check. Why are there some NFDs that make $10,000 a month and some NFDs that make $25,000 a month? Yeah. It's the weekly check. It is the weekly check. When I've been fortunate enough to be a pretty strong recruiter, and my weekly checks are always between like $1,500 and $2,000. But there are NFDs on my team that their weekly checks are $80. Why is that? Because they don't recruit anybody. Because they're not helping their people fast start, qualify, and move through the system, move through the ranks. So the difference between making $300,000 a year, for example, and $100,000 a year as an NFD is in your weekly checks. That's what moves this 222 to 10,000 in short order. You can condense time by focusing on your weekly checks. So, you have to attach this to something that matters to you. And I hope that some of you guys in this room really have something big brewing inside you. Something that you know you were born to do. Something that you maybe never thought you could do. When I first started, of course, I needed to make money. My goal was to live, right? My goal was to have meat in my diet. And then after I kind of got through that, this is sort of funny. I've never told anybody this before, but my goal was there's this there's this thing called karaoke. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's karaoke with a live band. It's so fun because they're playing behind you, they sing backup for you if you can't sing, they make you sound like you can. And I was like, ooh, I want to hire the karaoke people to do a private party for me. That was my wife. Yeah, I'm very deep. But it mattered to me because I thought that would be so much fun, and I wanted to like have my friends experience that. I wanted to be able to have people come over and eat food and have this big venue. Anyway, no. So you have to attach it to something that matters to you, right? Because at the end of the day, and I spoke about this a little bit last night, but at the end of the day, when the money comes, then what? When you're living in a space where you're not worried about paycheck to paycheck, when your bills are taken care of, when your kids' college is paid for, when your house is paid off, or when you can do what you want to do with your life, then what? If you're not attaching it to something bigger, then it's easy to just walk away or just ride your residual. But you're not helping anybody. And after a while, that gets a little bit lonely. Because I believe we were wired to help people. I believe we are wired for community. And this is a huge opportunity for you to be able to touch so many lives. And on the other side of that, your why is what keeps you moving when you feel a little bit like things are stuck. Your why is what keeps you moving when you hear that no. When the person who you thought for sure was going to do this says no. When somebody calls you and says, oh my gosh, my face broke out so bad and this stuff stinks so bad and it's poison, did you know? I can't believe you're trying to sell me poison. I thought we were friends. I'm really worried about you because you got sucked into this hole and it's not going anywhere. When you start hearing those kinds of things, if you're grounded in your why, you're going to keep moving. But if you're wishy-washy about why you're doing this in the first place, you can get distracted by that and derailed by that easily. So I encourage you, if you don't know why you're doing this, if you don't have big dreams of karaoke like I did, figure it out. Allow yourself to go to a place where you're like, if money was no object, if time was no object, if I could do anything on this planet, what would it be? If I could help anyone on this planet, how would I do it? And ground yourself to that and know with every fiber of your being that staying the course with Nerium and being consistent in your points will get you exactly whatever it is you want. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. All right, so as a new brand partner, this can get a little overwhelming and confusing. So we're going to talk a lot about what your goals are to start. And it's really, really simple. It's 3-year free and getting builder bonus qualified. Everything else in the comp plan revolves around this. So if you hear anything else I say, all you need to do is get your 3 customers, get your 3 brand partners, repeat, repeat, repeat. Once you do it, you can teach your team how to do it. Repeat, repeat, repeat. When you're a leader, you're locking arms with those new people, and you're helping them get their 3 and 3. And everybody can wrap their brain around that, right? Sometimes when people are contemplating this business, they're thinking, I don't know 500 people who are going to want to sell this. I don't know 100 people who are going to want to buy this. Okay, well, do you know 3? Come on. You know 3 people who want to look better, and I know you know 3 people who need to live better, right? So that's what we're going to talk about first. And the way that we do that is with our 8-point system, and that just helps us gauge our activity. And one of the analogies I use is like going to the gym. And some of us, we go to the gym and we kind of focus on the things that we really like to do, right? The things that don't hurt the next day. Where you can comfortably walk up and down stairs with no problem, right? There's this thing called the Versa Climber. Do you guys know what that is? I hate the Versa Climber. It's like my nemesis. And the only time I ever get on it is when I go to one of those stupid classes where they make us. Otherwise, I'm like not even near that. I'm like walking by. I'm like, don't look at me. I don't want to be tempted by the Versa Climber. So I avoid that. There's a lot of things that I avoid at the gym because I don't like it. Because it hurts. Because I'm not good at it. And sometimes we do that with the system. There's lots of different things in our 8-point system that give us points, and we stick in our comfort zone. We focus all of our points on the things that are comfortable. Like we can read those corporate emails like nobody's business, right? Point, point, point. We can get on those calls. We might even show up to a meeting like this. But when was the last time you got some bottles out? When was the last time that you prospected people in your cold market, people that you didn't know? When was the last time you had a 3-way call? So you want to make sure that you're embracing the entire entire system and be a well-rounded. Being a well-rounded brown partner as opposed to someone who sticks in their comfort zone and then wonders, how come I'm not growing the way I want to grow? All right, so here's what your points look like. And this is right straight out of your planner, so I'm not going to go through all of them. We're going to talk about them each individually. But what's important to know is that you're getting point values for each of these activities, and the goal would be to get a minimum of 8 points. And remember that I said a minimum. If you're trying to hit NMD in 90 days, you're not doing 8 points a day. If you're trying to get your Lexus by Long Beach, you're not doing 8 points a day. You're going to do more than that. It's a minimum of 8 points, and it's not all your points on one day. It's 8 points a day. It's teaching you consistency, and all it is getting you in the habit of keeping engaged in your business. And if we can say, if you get an hour and a half a day to do this, and we're going to tell you exactly what to do in that hour and a half, you're going to be successful. Period. If you go rogue and you've got, oh no, I don't need to do these 8 points. I'm going to go do a bunch of trade shows and skywriting, and I'm going to do a parade and throw out samples at the kids. That's not our system. And now, can you get some success from that? Maybe. But it's all about being duplicatable. The key to this system is that it duplicates. And you could be the best salesperson ever, and you've got this great speech, and you don't want to do it this way, you want to do it your own way, and you're going to attract people who are just like you. And they're probably few and far between. Most people that join our business are like the rest of us, who don't really feel like salespeople, or maybe don't want to be, or don't have a bunch of time. And they can do this. They can sit in bed at 11 o'clock at night on their computer and get their points. So, first is your conference calls. If you haven't already, you can take out your cell phone right now and text the word REAL to 59769. And what that's going to do is give you the opportunity to receive texts from Nerium that remind you of your corporate calls. Isn't that cool? Because most of us, we forget the number. Even though we dial it every single week, we never remember the number, right? You can also program the number into your phone. 409-777-9200. You have your team Nerium calls on Sundays, your Nerium Universities on Mondays, and your corporate update calls on Tuesday. These are all central time, so that works for you guys. If you miss a call, then they're recorded until the next week. So there's really no excuse not to get on them. But in my findings, if you don't get on them when they're actually live, then you probably aren't going to get on them. So unless you're working or there's no way for you to do it, I really encourage you to make it a habit of getting on during your call, because otherwise the week can come and go and you never get it. Also your corporate emails, and it's just all the updates. What's going on with Canada? What's going on with our product? If there's any shipping issues or anything from the corporate office, they're going to give it to you in an email every single week. So make sure that you're reading those, and that's worth 1 point. And it's not 1 point per email, by the way, it's just 1 point per day for reading your corporate emails. And your personal development, and this is something that a lot of us can skip over, especially if we're busy. But I really encourage you to make this a habit too, because almost every time I have somebody that comes to me that says, Sarah, I'm really struggling. I just can't get anybody to buy anything. I just can't get anybody to show up to a market party with me. I had 3 people coming tonight. They all bailed. Wah, wah, wah. Right? And the first thing that I always say to them is this. How's your personal development going? What book are you reading right now? I'm not. Because it's a mindset, isn't it? If your nose is in your business and you believe that where you're going is for greatness, and you know for sure that you're in the right place at the right time, and someone doesn't come to your meeting with you or someone doesn't buy your product, you don't care. You don't care. You're not crippled by that. Because you're moving forward anyway. Because you're going to find the people who do want you, or who do want Nerium, right? If your head's not in that personal development, you start to lose your mojo a bit. You start to second guess yourself a bit. All those naysayers in your family or your friends that don't believe in you or don't believe in Nerium start creeping into your conscience. But if your nose is in that personal development, you remember who you are, and you remember what you're capable of, and you even learn some skills. Maybe it's just that little tip, that tweak, that little bit of confidence that's going to make all the difference in your results. So if that's you, if you're in this room right now and you're feeling a little bit like Debbie Downer, then I challenge you to step it up with your personal development. And you're also getting points for that too. It might just be 10 pages of the slide edge if you haven't read it yet. It might be making sure that you put it in your car instead of listening to Motley Crue. Matchbox 20. No. I'm a little bit of an 80s kid, so instead of listening to music, you're listening to Jim Rohn CDs. I can always tell the people who are involved in that and immersed in that. Always. They're always in a good mood when they show up. They always attitude and they're working it instead of complaining about it. All right, and then you have to promote the product, and this is probably the most important part. And interestingly to me, as we grow in leadership, most of us slack off on this a little bit. We get our 3 customers, we get our 6 customers, we get our 3 brand partners, and then we're not as hungry to promote the product. And so I'm going to spend a little time here. I really encourage you to do this. We call this our product prospecting system. You can download these flyers from your back office. They're also in your plan. All right, so let's talk about it. When you get your pack, it's designed for you to hand a bottle to someone for 5 days, get the bottle back, and hand it to someone else, right? So each bottle is going to go through 5 or 6 people if you're doing it correctly. And incidentally, if you're wondering, like, how do I keep track of that? There's lots of different tips and tricks. I'm sure you've all heard. What I do is I just put a little Sharpie slash mark on the bottom of the bottle. So the first time it goes out is 1, the second time. So I know that, it's probably almost empty. And then if I have prospects that don't live near me, like prospects in another state or another town, then I try to send them a bottle that's been used a couple of times so that I don't have to worry about getting it back. So you just kind of manage your inventory like that a little bit. And this is only really a problem in the beginning when you only have limited bottles. As you start building your business and you're getting your Nerium gift back bottles, it's going to be much of a problem. What I did when I started, I got the $1,000 kit, is I took a piece of paper and I put all those little stickers on it, the little stickers, and I wrote names down of everybody that I wanted to try Nerium. And I stored them on a sticker until they were all filled up. So I had a list of people that I wanted to try Nerium, not so much the list of people that wanted to try it, but the people that I was going to talk to first. And then I had, incidentally, a lot of other people come contacting me as I was using Facebook and things like that, right? When you're giving somebody a bottle, I think the easiest way to do this, and it builds confidence and it gets the bottles out, is just to call up some people. Like maybe you have your list, right? And I think Laurie's going to talk about this too. You have some list of people that you want to try it, people you want exposed to it, people that need it, right? Whatever. And you're going to give them a quick call, a quick text, a quick Facebook message, whatever it looks like for you. And you're going to be keeping it very, very simple and very, very short. It's just going to be like, hey, this is Sarah, I'm super excited. I just got linked up with Nerium International, that anti-aging, or the one-step anti-aging treatment that everybody's talking about. Anyway, I've got some bottles, and I'm really looking to build my personal portfolio of testimonials. If I could get you a bottle to try it for a few days and use it for me, give me your feedback. I'm not talking about Oleander. I'm not talking about Jeff Olson. I'm not talking about how it works, where it came from. I'm not so excited about my Lexus. All I'm saying is, listen, I'm stoked about what I just got involved in. If I could get a bottle to you, would you use it for me and give me your feedback? Now, the good news is, nobody says no to that. Have you ever, when someone's asked you for your opinion, have you ever said, no, thank you, I don't want to give it? I'll keep my opinion to myself, thank you. No, when someone asks you for your opinion, you're like, right on, yeah, I'll tell you what's up with this poison. I'll tell you, right? You're not asking them to buy it, you're not asking for a credit card, you're asking for their opinion. And you get them the bottle, and then you're going to give them a tool, a magazine or a video. Hey, here's the bottle, here's a magazine that talks all about how it works and why it works, so thumb through that. Or here's the video, it's about 10 minutes long, it's going to tell you all about how it works and why it works, so make sure you watch it. And I'm going to follow up with you on Saturday. Now listen, I've got a wait list for this bottle, so I need to meet you on Saturday. If we have a deal, I'm bringing it over right now. You have to put a little bit of sense of urgency to the fact that you need that bottle back. If they didn't use it for the first 5 days, you're still taking it back. Don't let them keep it. Say, hey guys, I got some wait list for that. As soon as I get it back, I'll bring it to you again. We'll try this again. Do not let them keep it. Even if you don't have a wait list, take it back, wait a week, and then bring it to you. Right? Because these bottles are valuable. So you got to act like it. And notice I didn't say anything else. And then when you follow up, you're going to ask them, hey, tell me what you think about that magazine you read. Tell me what you thought about the video when you watched it. Tell me what you like about what's going on with your skin. Well, and there's only a few answers, right guys? They can say, you know what, I hated every second. That's 10 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Right? Or they might say, that magazine offered nothing, it was ridiculous. And by the way, I hated the product. Okay, give it back. Right? Or they're going to say, yeah, I used it for 5 days, I don't really notice that much difference. And then you say, well, babe, you got a lot of work to do. I mean, come on. It's going to take a little more than 5 days for you, sweetheart. No, you say, okay, I get it. The 5-day trial is just a trial. It's not so that you're going to go to bed and then, you know, look like a troll and wake up and look like Cindy Crawford. That's not how it works. It's not a laser. It's $80. But the 5 days, like, do you like it enough that you can see yourself using it for 30 days? Like, does your skin not react to it? Can you stand the smell? Do you like the texture? Do you see yourself using it for 30 days? Knowing that you can get your money back at the end of that 30 days. Okay, yeah, sure, let's do it. Or they're going to be like freaking out, and we've had those people too. They're like, I can't believe it. Did you notice I had a wrinkle right here? It's totally gone. Or I had this spot that I've had my whole life, and it's gone. I'm freaking out. Great. Then you're going to talk to them about how to purchase it or how to be a brand partner. But that's pretty much the extent of their options when you ask them about what their experience was. And if they say no, who cares? No is neutral, right? There's no negativity, you know. We got to learn to hear. We're going to hear a heck of a lot more no's than we are yeses. The difference between a brand partner and an NMD is the NMD is there's way more no's. That's what we do. That's what we do in this business. If everybody said yes, we wouldn't be in this room. We'd be in like a stadium or something, right? Not everybody's going to say yes. That's okay. And as long as you expect that going in, you're going to be fine. You're not crippled by that. It's just all right. Just check that person off your list and move on. And maybe you'll revisit them later. You never know. So you want to make sure that you're utilizing your entire path. Nothing drives me crazy more than somebody who gets a premier pack with the 10 sets, and they've got like 7 of them in their closet. And then they're wondering why they're not fast start qualifying. Your bottles should be out before you even get them. You should already know in your mind who's getting those before your kit even arrives, and get them out the door. And then get them back and get them out and get them back and get them out. And if you have a list of who you want to use them and a running wait list of who wants them, it's really easy to do that, right? So I'm going to have Laurie come up here real quick, and she's going to tell you about how she does her top 100 to get you started as soon as you get signed up here.
All right, so some of you are they hearing me? Yeah. All right, so some of you have actually heard this training before, and this is kind of going a little bit rogue off of the typical Nerium training, but I was asked by a few of the other leaders, Raylan, Mindy, and stuff, to do this training, and I do this training call as well, and I do have it recorded. So if you need this after, but take good notes, get in touch with me, and I can email you a recording on this. But this is something I do with my new brand partners. You know, even before they get their kit, I'd like to get them on the phone and get this training in here. And it really is a way to help them fast start qualify. But I want to point this out, okay? There are some brand partners in this room that didn't fast start qualify. Don't turn your ear off, okay? Because either you're going to need to teach somebody how to do this at some point in your business, or this could be a great way for you to jumpstart when you walk out this door today. Okay, so this is for new brand partners to fast start qualify. It's to jumpstart or restart your business, okay? Because some of you might have taken your foot off the gas pedal a little bit too. So basically what I try to do is I have my new brand partner write a list of 100 people. Okay, and we all get I don't know 100 people. I'm like, okay, give me your phone. And there's a way you can check how many contacts they have in their phone. They all have over 100 in their phone. Okay, so between that, Facebook, email addresses, everybody knows 100 people. Okay, so get 100 people. Do not prejudge the list. Okay, these aren't people that you think are going to love the product. These aren't people that you think are going to, jump on board with you in this business. It is just a running list of names. Okay, so you can start at A in your phone and go all the way to Z if you want to do it that way. When you grab your list, you're going to write them out, 100, in our back office for all you brand partners. You can go under Resources, Marketing Center, Internal Flyers, and there's a My List tracking sheet. In your Success Planner, there's actually one in there. It only has room for like 20 names, but you can print additional pages off. So usually I have a fast start game plan when I'm needing a new brand partner. I have 5 sheets already printed off when I show up with her. Or I've emailed her those 5 sheets and said, write 100 names on these sheets. When you get with me, bring that with you. Okay, so we have the 100 names. Okay, and then we break down the list, because 100 names on the list is daunting, right? You're a little bit scared. Some of those people on there might actually be your doctor, right? Because you literally went through your phone, so you're freaking out. You don't want to talk to your doctor. I have a good doctor story. I'll get to it later, maybe. So basically, you want to bring that list with you, and we're going to break it down. And here's how we break down the list to a manageable state. And our focus is to expose these 100 people to Nerium in your first week, okay? So the first thing I ask them to do is pick 10 names off the list. Now this could be 7, this could be 12, and Sarah alluded to this. This is what she did when she started. These are 10 people you're going to invite to what's called a 10-in-play call. Okay? And all a 10-in-play call is a business overview call. Simple words to invite. Hey Sue, this is Laurie. Have you ever heard of Nerium? No, I've never heard of it. Great, I'm excited. I'm the first person that gets to tell you about it. Hey, listen, I partnered with a biotech company, had an accidental discovery, anti-aging. Okay, listen, I know you look fabulous, girl, or whatever, This product might not be for you, but maybe the business is, I don't know. But I'm asking 10 people to get on board, and I thought of you. I wanted you to listen to some information. You don't have to commit to it, just get on the call, listen, and I want your feedback after. I'm super excited about it, but I need a gauge, and you're my gauge, okay? So you can compliment somebody, invite them to the call, it's your girlfriend, it's somebody that you know that's looking for something like this, it's somebody in the industry that you know has had success. It can be anybody, but 10 people you want to invite to that 10-in-play call. The next group, what you're going to do is 10 people that you're just going to send written information. I always do magazines, okay? I like the magazines. So on the outside of the magazine, you're just going to put like a cute little piece of paper or a Post-it note and be like, hey, check this out. This is something I just got, partnered up with. Check out articles on page blah, blah, and blah, blah. And I always pick only 2. So I'll either put a Post-it note on the pages for them, and I pick usually a product-focused article. Okay, usually I love the Nerium gives back whenever they talk about free inventory. I think that's huge. That's my personal favorite product-focused one. And then I pick a story, okay? So a business story. So if I was going to send it to a guy, okay, I might pick out Danny Gaffney's story. Okay, if I was going to send it to a stay-at-home mom, I'd probably highlight Anna Woodward's story. Okay, so make sure you know the stories in that Success from Home magazine so that you know which ones to pinpoint for people. So what I do is just send out that magazine. Okay, highlight, cute little note, read these 2 articles. They're probably going to read more than the 2, but at least 2 in there. The next group of people is 10 people you want to get the product into their hands. So you can utilize the system that Sarah did. Get a piece of paper, use those little dots on the paper, and write people's names on them. And, a great way to get product out is, blast it on Facebook, put before and after pictures. Who wants samples? Who wants a free 5-day trial? That's a great way to do it too, but it's also neat to know, the people you want to have try this product right away. Y'all do, okay, when you get started. So those are the people that you're going to do the same thing Sarah said. Like for me, it was a lot of them were my neighbors because I knew they were close by and I could get the bottle back really quick. But it was also a way for me to test the waters. I wasn't all that confident in myself yet in the beginning. I didn't really know if this was going to work for me. But I knew my friend Sandra next door. I could be like, hey Sandra, listen, I need people I know in my personal portfolios. The company gives us before and after pictures, but I want it to be people I know. Would you try this for 5 nights, take a before and after picture, and give me your personal opinion? Okay, so that's the way to get the product out there with that group. So about 10 people on that list you want to get the bottle to right away. Your next group is going to be about 30 or 40 people. We are huge in our group on launching, okay? Launch parties, RRPs, those kinds of things are really important in the beginning because it's a lot easier to expose 10 people sitting in your living room to Nerium than it is for you to get on a phone call and call 10 people, okay? So if we do a launch party, we take about 34 people that you feel, that live relatively close to you, you feel comfortable inviting them to your home, and you lock in an expert, okay? So one of the leaders on your team to come in and do your party for you. So all the new brand partner is really in charge of is simple snacks and inviting their friends. They don't need to know everything. They need to know how to press play on the DVD, okay? Or how to hook in the iPad for the expert coming to talk. That's all they need to know how to do. So really simple with that. And then the other people on your list, you can have about 25, 30 people that are either out of town people, okay? Maybe they're people you haven't seen in a long time. Maybe there's somebody you went to grade school or high school or college with. Maybe you lived in another state at another time and you have those contacts. That group of people, you're just going to message them or get in contact or make a quick phone call. So Facebook is, really great and easy to use, but you got to remember when you use those kinds of things, you need to follow up with a phone call. Okay, that's really, really key. Fortune is in the follow-up. We teach you guys that through this process. But that group of people, I have the same message I pretty much send to everybody, and it's like, hey, at this point in the game, because I've been in it for a while, I'm like, hey, you may, I know you've probably seen my Facebook post about Nerium, ha 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 ha. I'm like, hey, if I were able to get you some information in a bottle into your hands for 5 nights, would you be willing to try it? And it's amazing how many people will see your stuff and never message you that they want to try a sample. But the second you reach out to them, they're like, sure, I'll try it. They never say no, okay? So that's really neat. In the beginning, my wording was almost exactly the same, but it was like, hey, hey, I know you like to look good. Okay, so my girlfriends, hey, I know you like to look good. I just stumbled upon this. It's amazing. If I got some product into your hands, would you try it for 5 nights and take a before and after picture for me? Okay, so really simple. It's just like 1 or 2 sentences. It's not like it was an accidental discovery from a biotech company and and Jeff Olson, oh my God, he's like the millionaire maker. And it's not all of that. It's just really quick, really simple. And it actually is quicker and easier for you guys because it's like you can do 10 of those in like 5 minutes, right? Cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste. It's my favorite thing. And then Sarah alluded to this too, follow-up, the fortunes in the follow-up. So it doesn't matter, so you've exposed 100 people and you can do that in your first week. So your launch date, 10 magazines out, invite people to a 10 and play call. Your 10 and play call is usually done by your upline expert, okay, so you just coordinate with them. Your launch party and then sending messages out to the people out of town. So those are all your segments. So there's 5 different groups. So somebody can take that list of 100 and just kind of decide, okay, are they going to be a person I send a message to? Are they going to be a person I invite to the 10 and play call? And just kind of go through it that way. And then you just do all those things. Follow up. Then Sarah teaches this to us. 3 follow-up questions we ask everybody. Doesn't matter what the exposure was, if they saw a video, if they were on the call, if they came to a market party, if they were at a launch party. Hey, question number 1, what did you like best about what you saw in the video? What did you like best about, the event last night? What was that one thing you heard that kind of, sparked you? What was you're picking up your bottle after a 5-day trial. What was the best thing about the Nerium experience this week? What was the best thing about it? Okay, so it's always what was the best thing. Okay, so it always starts that conversation on a positive note. They will, and then you need to close your mouth. Let them talk. They're gonna give you, you're gonna know what direction to go with them, a little more product focused, a little more business focused. And then they're also gonna ask you a question. At the end of that, they always ask you a question. And that's when you can transition into having, if you're on the phone, you can transition into a 3-way phone call at that point, okay? That's really, really simple. So then when they ask you that question, now granted, I can probably answer that question they have, right? But I'm not going to, because I'm their friend, and they're not gonna believe me. So I'll be like, hey, you know what? Hey, Sue, you know what? That's a great question. Hold on a second. Let me see if Sarah's available. She's been doing this a little longer than I, and I know she has the answer to this. Hold on. And I put her on the call, okay? So that's just a way of doing it, all right? For new people, that's a breeze for you. Hey, you know what? I'm so new, I don't even know the answer to that. Let me get Laurie on the call, or let's schedule a call with Laurie tonight, and I know she can answer that for you. I want to make sure you're getting the right information. Trust me, they appreciate when they say, I want to make sure you're getting the right information. Okay, so that's huge. And then question number 2 is, doesn't matter if they saw the video, they read the magazine, tried the product, whatever. I always go for, at this point in time, obviously my confidence is built up, I go right for the sale. Hey, based upon what you've seen so far, are you ready to give the product a try? Knowing you can get your money back if you're not completely satisfied within 30 days. In the beginning, because I wasn't so confident, I would always offer up the sample was question number 2. Hey, based upon what you've seen so far, would you like to try it for 5 nights for free? Okay, so it's always product for question number 2, and then question number 3 is always business focused. You know, hey, I don't know if you keep your income opportunities open. I don't know if you're looking for a plan B. Maybe you know somebody this is perfect for. You know, maybe this isn't for you, but you might know somebody this is perfect for. Are you at all open to taking a peek at the Nerium business? Or me sharing some business information with you about our company? Okay, so those are the 3 magic questions. That's it.